Okay. Hopefully it's working now. There we go. Okay. That was a nice, fun interlude. It was just a fire drill. So unplanned, didn't give us a heads up, sadly. Um I will splice these two videos together to make it cohesive. But before I do that, I'm just gonna do a quick recap. This is our website. Find all of our information on there. I should probably make sure I share this link with you guys so that you guys can actually log back onto it. Okay, link is live on Facebook. So, woo, not that one. Lovely. Okay, so making sure I've got it. Double check. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay. So, quick recap. Again, this is our web page. It's got all of your information that you're going to need on it. Double check your photo requirements. I went over, just a little bit of what is and isn't allowed for photo editing. Again, no ID. I walked through how to make your quail collage. Photocollage.com is great. PixArt works, Canva works, apps on your phone work. Basically, your goal here is you want to be able to have all three pictures side by side, roughly the same size. With chickens, you want a single side profile from head to toe so you can see the top of their comb to their toes. And you want it to have a clear picture, a nice background. You don't want your birds to be dirty at all. And then again, if you don't have a Gmail account to fill out the form, you can email us the information as well, and we'll fill out the form for you. This is what the forms look like. They look just about the same for every single form. I'll also fill out a chicken form for those of you that want to see that. You can fill out your first, your last name, your email address. Your email address is what we use to contact you. We don't send you promotions or anything like that. We don't have an email list. This is just in case you have an issue with your entry or you win an award, and we need to get in contact with you. So enter something that you check at least, once a week or so. The farmer business name is if you want all of the pictures on Facebook to be put under your farm name instead of your personal name. You can put that in there. Your state, if you see any of our posts on Facebook and some on Instagram. I need to be posting on Instagram more. So, yeah, you see the maps with all of the different ones. I can pull up the map that we have so far. So I think we're up to like 22 states right now. The goal is to get all of them. Of course, it'd be really cool too. Last year we got about 30, I think we got 34 total. So if your state's not on there, definitely submit some birds. If it is on there, submit some more anyway. The more, the merrier. And it's just kind of cool to see where everyone's from. But that's completely optional. That's not something you have to fill out. Same with your age. It's not something at all required if you aren't comfortable sharing with that. That's just for us to say, like, okay, we've got more teenagers, we've got more younger kids, we've got more older population. It's just curious. And then for the rest of quail. So, the classes we have are separated by the 5 base patterns and then all other mutations. So wild type, you might know this is Pharaoh. That's the example entry we did. I'll pull that up for you just so you can see if you didn't watch the first part, which that's okay. There we go. So we've got three 3 photos together. And again, it doesn't really matter how they're arranged. I did have wording, you just can't see it because it was black on a black background. Oh well. And because this is a wild type, so this is your average brown bird. Most of those are going to be in your wild type or your pharaoh. Manchurian, I'll actually pull up some examples from the previous show because I had a couple of people asking, what do all of these look like? Can you post examples of them? And so I'll put a Facebook post out possibly tomorrow, depending on how much time I have, just showing is with examples from last year, just showing what each category will look like. So this will be your Manchurian. And again, going back to our page, if you go on to past results here, you can see every single bird that was entered last year. Our champion row here. So these are all of our class champions and our overall show, reserve, and champions. And you can click on them and you can see, what class and whose bird it was. This is where we would post your farm name if you had put your farm name in there. Let's scroll down. Whole bunch of other ones. So these are Manchurians. So what you're looking for in those, Rebecca Lynch from Thieving Otter Farm had a bunch of entry examples last year. She also has some great posts on her website. We have some posts and some things on Quail Genetics that also have pictures. Some are from Rebecca, some are from Martin Yardley, our judge, some are from all over different breeders. So if you're confused or you aren't sure, just message me. But some typical things for Manchurian is you're going to have a clean breast, that bright yellow color. You'll usually either have a black or red mask, and there's not so much chest speckling on the back. This is what a rooster can look like. And yeah, there was only 2 last year. We have, I want to say 5 this year. Ooh, X out for me. There we go. So that's Manchurian. As we went before, these are some wild types. So these are pharaohs. And you can see all of the different examples, what they look for in the face. This is a picture I wouldn't recommend for next year, or for this year, not to have your hand in there. You want the bird standing a little bit more naturally. It doesn't want to close out. There we go. And then we have our Italians. So this is going to be your yellow birds, usually with a black mask and a ton of markings on the back. And so these will be your Italian. We call it heterofawn, heterozygous fawn. It's just a fancy word for Italian. So you're going to be looking for some chest speckles on hens and lines down the back, and patterns on the back on a yellow background. That's just, again, a vague description. It's not perfect, but it should give you a bit of a start. And then this is the Rosetta. I think we only had 2 Rosettas. What you're looking for in Rosettas is it's going to be your brown EB base. Rosetta means hetero EB, so it's got 1 copy of extended brown and 1 copy of Tibetan. And if you don't know your genetics or you aren't up to date on that, don't worry about it. While genetics can be important for quail, it's not a game changer, especially for the virtual show. So if you have any questions about what any of your birds fit into, don't be afraid to message me. So what you're looking for here for Rosetta, it's hard to see in this picture, especially with the watermark that we put over it. But each feather is going to have a yellow line that runs right down the middle of it. And the rest of the bird is going to be brown. So your feathers are going to be brown with black, almost like a lacing on it. Not quite. But it'll have a yellow line down the middle. Those are your Rosettas. And both of those here have that. This one you can see a little bit better. And then we've also got our description on here from why they're placed, how they are. So this one's from Katya. We had a couple different quail judges last year. And then this is Tibetan. So Tibetan are going to be your brown birds with that black edging on each feather, but there's not going to be that line down each feather. So it's just going to be brown and black, very minimal, if any, yellow. And that's what we call homozygous EB or Tibetan. Again, just a fancy word for Tibetan. So if you're, then our last one is all other dilutes. So this is, I judged this one last year, so I've got a ton of feedback on here for what people are looking for. This was champion overall quail. I really liked this bird. But what you're going to want is if your bird has any dilutions on it. So if you have, calico, if you have phi, if you're talking like a pearl phi or growl phi or sparkly or pansy or anything like that where you have any mutations on top of the bird, you're going to want to enter it into the all other dilutes. This year we've renamed it to all other mutations because not all of our mutations, like calico, are considered dilutes. Just a fun fact. Again, don't be worried if you aren't sure what all of these dilutions are, or if you aren't sure what your bird all has. Send me a picture, and if I can't figure it out, I'm usually pretty good with colors. I can figure most of them out by myself. But if I can't, I can certainly message people that can. So I've got a whole bunch of breeders and geneticists that I talk to that are able to help me figure it out. And if none of them are able to get it, I'll message Martin, our judge himself, and he can tell me what class he'd like to place it in. So again, those are just kind of a breakdown with example pictures of each class. I'll throw up a post for anyone watching. And then the only exception I'm going to have for here, just kind of a blanket statement, any of the really, really hard mutations to spot. So this includes sex-linked brown, this includes calico, this includes fawn enhancement for your EB categories, so Tibetan and Rosetta, and hetero calico, hetero pansy, all of those that are really, really hard to see. They're going to be allowed in the regular category, so you won't need to enter them in all of their dilute. Just because they're hard to see, they're hard to prove, and even there is not a single line in the United States that is completely free from every single one of those dilutions. So they can just be entered in the regular category. If you think yours is a pharaoh and it looks pretty much like a pharaoh, go ahead and enter it in wild type. If there's any issues, I'll message you. But yeah, just how to upload, pretty simple. You're going to click on the add file, click browse, and I'm just going to enter one of the past examples that I had made earlier. And if you are entering all other mutations, so like if you have a pearl phi, you're going to write that in there, pearl phi, just so that we know which category to place it in, and that we know you know what category it's going to go in as well. We break down our all other mutations into multiple dilutions. You'll click next. It'll have a nice confirmation screen for you. That next screen will also have the discount for you. If you're watching our Facebook post, you saw that Bryant's Roost is offering a discount to anyone who enters the show. And they've got a promo code that you can use if you end up ordering from them. And then you'll just click submit and it'll come through on my end. So that's how you do the quail. It's pretty straightforward. I made it probably a lot longer than it needed to be. But I did have some questions in there. I'll do another video. I know someone had commented before asking, what people are looking for in quail. And I'll do another complete video. Terry, if you're watching, maybe I'll plan it with you on Katurnik's Corner. Just what our judges are going to be looking for when they look at quail. The biggest thing, I can do a quick recap of what they're going to be looking for in each picture, because we did go over, the 3 different picture types. So let me pull up the file and the example entry in a little bit bigger. So really quick, what they're going to be looking for with each picture. Your side profile picture here is what's going to tell them the conformation of the bird. So this is going to be telling, how the bird stands, what's the shape of the bird? Is the bird ideally suited to lay eggs and give the most meat possible? So they're going to be looking at the feet here. Are the feet widespread? They're going to be looking at the skull. Is it have a good skull on there? The breast, the shape of the back, how the bird stands. So you want to get a good picture that's nice and alert. You want the quail peeking up, usually standing upright. Generally, you want the bird's head you want it standing on even ground so you can see the stance. It can also tell a little bit of the conditioning of the bird. Is the bird missing feathers on the back of its head from overbreeding? You can tell a bit of coloration from it. It's a little bit harder in a wing in a side profile. So the main thing that they're going to see on this one is conformation, which is the most important type of every bird. You've heard the saying, you build a barn before you paint it. Conformation is that barn before coloration and condition. Same. So then moving on to the wing, the back plumage here, the wing spread. The biggest thing they're looking for here is conditioning and color. So, again, are your bird's feathers nice? Are they even? Are they missing a bunch from overbreeding? Are they dirty from, sitting in a dirty cage? Just in general, what does the bird look like? You can also tell a lot of their color from this wing spread picture. So is the bird the correct color? Is it in the correct class? In this one, you can tell there's no sex-linked brown. Tamara has spent a ton of time on her birds, especially her Pharaoh lines, making them some of the cleanest lines in the entire world. And you can tell. Look at how well those striations line up on the back. Look at these eyelets, how each single one is consistent, that nice even color. There's a lot you can tell from just looking at the back plumage of the bird. And again, this bird's in really good condition. It doesn't have a feather out of place. And then the breast picture down here, what they're looking for is two separate things. They're going to be looking at the face and the breast. So you can tell how much meat is on the bird from looking at it a little bit. You can tell the coloration is huge here. There's a lot of little things you can tell on the side. You can see that nice crisp chin strap here, indicating a nice clean bird. And you can just, again, see overall condition. Is it missing feathers anywhere? You can get a good picture of the beak. Is the beak in great condition? Same with the toenails in your profile. That's something you might not realize just by looking at it. Or you might not realize just through the picture. It's something you got to kind of take a second to look at. But again, in order of things that they're looking for, the first is conformation. How is the bird standing? How is the structure and the type of the bird? Then it's conditioning. Do you take good care of your birds? Are they in a good pen with good breeder ratios? Are their feathers really nice? Did you put time into your photos and make sure your photos were decent of the birds? And you can tell some of that from your background too. So double check your background. Make sure there's not a bunch of clutter or other birds or a whole bunch of like broken parts or anything that can be distracting in the background. It doesn't, like I said before, in the previous video, I think that was the first one, it's not going to make or break your bird. At the end of the day, we're judging the bird itself, but it adds just a little bit more to your bird. And then the final thing that they're looking at, and this is the least important out of all of them, is color. Color is just one way to show breedership. And it's just one way to show that you know what you're doing. It's not the only way. So if you're worried, my bird has sex-linked brown, my bird has homozygous sparkly, or heterosparkly, or heterocalico, or I don't know what's in my bird, that's okay, especially when we're starting quail shows like this. We want to get more entries. We want to get more people. Everyone is new to this at this point. And so it's okay if you're not the best at genetics or the best at understanding, or it's okay if your bird is fawn enhanced for right now. The main thing we're looking at is, you have birds and you care. You're taking pictures of them to enter, and they stand well, and Like I said before, a well-structured bird that has sex-linked brown, fawn enhancement, and all of the delusions in it is going to place better than a perfectly clean pharaoh that just doesn't carry itself well at all. So yeah, that's just kind of a short run through for quail. I'll do a quick how to enter chickens. This one shouldn't take too long. And I'll do a youth one just so you guys can see what that looks like. So again, short blurb. Read this if you haven't read the virtual show. If you read through the virtual show, it just recaps all of it. And it's going to ask again for your name, your last name, your email. Let's actually put in my Pips and Chicks one. Pick again the email you're gonna check. If it's a youth entering this, enter your email instead of your parent's email, please. If it's a parent entering it for their kid, go ahead and enter your email. Just enter an email you check. This asks for your year, so we don't need your date of birth. We just want to make sure you're under 18 and you're not. We did have a cutoff. 2020 was our cutoff. If you're born in 2021, I'm sorry, but a 2-year-old entering birds in the show isn't super realistic. So, we said at least 3. Most of the people that have been entering are older than that, especially to own their own birds. But you put your year in there, and these aren't optional, they're required. I'm just choosing random years. The state is optional, so you can pick if you want to include that or not. Again, it shows on the map. It's just kind of fun to see. And then what for chickens, each of the class has their own separate thing. So we had some people kind of freak out a little bit when it came to that, and they're like, oh no, single comb clean eggs. I have a rose comb bird, or I have a feather-legged bird, and I don't have a spot to enter it. It's like, just wait a little bit. We separated this out so that it'll automatically sort some of the popular breeds that we had last year, so I don't have to go through and sort them manually. And so these are popular breeds that we had. These are also breeds that some of them have awards for. So we do have a Sorama Best of Breed Award for youth. Same with our rocks. We have Best of Breed Awards and ribbons given out to our best Plymouth Rock for youth. If you enter any other single comb clean legged, please put your breed in there. That's just for me, an administration standpoint, to make sure that I put it in the right spot that it should be in. And then if you click next, you'll get the rose comb clean legged. And you don't need to fill all of these out. So it's okay. It's completely okay. If you don't have any rose comb clean legged or you don't have any single comb clean legged. Just make sure. We did have a couple people enter like completely blank forms with no birds uploaded, but they filled out all of their information. If that's you, you can go. I'm guessing it's an error. I sent out emails to most of them, so double check your email. Just to make sure it wasn't an error. And if you do have any errors, I'll explain just a little bit in a bit what you do then. Feather-legged. This is our most popular category in just about every single show. For like the entire thing, I think our open bantam feather-legged was our most popular last year, which was absolutely awesome to see. So I have a Cochin picture of our bird from last year. Let me find it. You guys get to see. There we go. So yep, this is Silver. She was posing for me the other day, and I was taking pictures to show like what you want to take in pictures. There's a whole lot of them out there. We're gonna choose this one. And yeah, and it's that simple. The other thing we had questions on, how many entries are there? So there are unlimited entries. The only thing we put out there, for chickens, The only limits that we have are 5 per variety. So I could enter 5 silver penciled cochins. I could enter 5 gold pencil or partridge cochins. There's no such thing as gold penciled. I could enter 5 mottled cochins, and I can enter 5 black cochins and 5 white cochins and 5 blue cochins, and as many different varieties of cochins as I've wanted. And then I can do the same thing for Duclays. I could enter 5 millies, 5 porcelains, 5 mottled, 5 golden neck, and I can do that for the entire show if I wanted to. Would I recommend it? Well, you'd have to have a whole lot of birds to do that, but you could. And the only thing is these forms have a limit of 5. So you can only upload 5 per category at a time. So 5 Duclays, 5 cochins. If you have more than that, you can just fill the form out again. This form can be filled out as many times as you want. So if you have like 2 pictures of your birds now, and you know that you're going to have some more next week, or you'll have chance to take them next week, you can go ahead and submit the 2 pictures now and submit the rest of them when you get to that, which is especially useful for quail when you've got, 2 birds that you're submitting now, and then in 3 weeks you may have more birds that are feathered out now. The same thing goes for all of the other categories. If you enter any other feather-legged, so not one of these breeds, but it's feather-legged, please write down the breed and the variety if it's not a typical variety. So like some Brahmas, we had like blue partridge. Blue partridge is not a super common variety. Just to make sure I've got it in the right place and documented right, put it in there. And if you've got multiple, can show you a quick thing. You can just separate them by tabs, and I will be able to figure it out from that. And then same thing for games, and it'll just have a submit button. The other really big question we've gotten for all of our youth is, can I enter the same birds in both youth and open? I'll submit it just so you guys can see it. Yeah. And yes, you actually can. So if you are a youth under 18, under 18. So you need to be turning 18 on or after June 1st of 2023. Just to specify for some people that were asking questions, you can enter the exact same bird, the exact same picture in both youth and open show. So the point of that, our youth judges are great, but they're not APA sanctioned. So you can increase the feedback that you get from both judges, because again, everyone judges birds slightly differently. And you also can increase your chance for awards as well. So we have separate awards for youth and open, and you're welcome to go for both of them. It's a little perk for being the next generation of people that are gonna be showing birds and be at our shows, and we really want to support you guys. So, and obviously our sponsors do too, because we have a ton of sponsors. Which does remind me, we just got a new sponsor in. If I go to the awards page, you can see here some of our logos. Obviously not all of them. We kind of cover, what our sponsorships are, and then we have our whole list of all of them. We just got more sponsorship, another sponsorship. So Little Creek Farms is putting $5 cash awards for Champion Asiatic in both youth and open, and 5 for Champion Featherleg in youth. So that's super exciting. If you win Champion Featherleg, you get $5 on top of the certificate and ribbons that you get otherwise. So yeah, that's just super cool. We also have awards for Champion Large Fowl in open and youth, and Champion Bantam in youth. And for anyone looking at sponsoring, we do, sponsorships are closing on the 20th, so you've got 10 days until a week from Saturday to sponsor something. You can get on here and just see, best of breed ribbons are $5. You can add cash awards to any single category. And then if you wanted to do discounts or something else of that sort, message me and we can see if we can get it figured out. But you can see what we already have best of breed ribbons on top of that. And yeah, so here are some of our awesome sponsors so far. So I think that is about it. I don't think there are any questions in the chat. If you have any questions, throw them in there now or forever hold your peace. I'm just kidding. If you guys have questions, feel free to message me. I think I said it in the other one. I don't know if I said it in this one. You can message me on Instagram, Facebook. The website's a great one to do. You can either go to the bottom of any single page and they have a contact me on here. You'll put your name, email, subject, and that sends it as both an email and a notification, so I'll get a pop-up on my phone. You can also use the send us a chat, and that has the exact same thing. I was messing around before with some of the presets to make sure they still worked. If I'm online and I'm on Wix at that moment, so I've got it running in the background, it'll ding my computer and I will be able to message back right away. If I'm not online, it'll ask you to submit your name, email, and message, and I will get back to you usually within a couple hours. I think on everything, I'm pretty fast at responding and seeing messages. I don't like the little notifications on my phone, and I hate my email inbox being full, so I usually go through those pretty fast. So yeah, any questions at all if you aren't sure what your bird is, what your bird should be entered as, if you aren't sure what category, what class, for quail especially, if you aren't sure on genetics, just email me. Don't let that scare you into not entering the show. We want to get as many quail, especially because it's the only quail show in the United States, and we're working towards with the American Coturnix Breeders Association, we're working towards getting an established standard and established shows, both virtual and in person, which is huge. So we definitely want to see your quail. It's okay if you aren't sure. It's okay if you aren't 100% on the genetics. Consider it entering anyway. So, yeah, we just want to see your birds. And it's a great way to get your name out there and get more information. So, yeah, I think that concludes this live stream. I'll cut and paste the two of them together. I know that was a little bit a little bit in there with the fire alarm going off, but I will put a solid video together and cut out some things, make it a little bit shorter for you guys. So hopefully tomorrow or the next couple days. It's been pretty busy, but yeah, I'll see you. Bye.